Good evening and welcome to another exciting session on News Extra, the program that brings you the news with an extra touch. Security issues have been on the front burner for 2 weeks in a row, and today Power Supply takes the lead as the Federal Executive Council moves to check the rot in the system. Remember Long John Silver, the pirate? The Inspector General of Police is rising to the challenge of curtailing his modern-day compatriots bent on making the maritime sector unsafe. Well, insecurity is not totally out, as even the Senate wants a commission against the proliferation of light arms and weapons. You know, we have a special thing for human angle stories, and today we feature a sizable number beginning with minors as refuse collectors and the pervasive effect of drug abuse. You know, we have business and business-related stories, development stories, education and sports. Now, you don't want me to let the whole cat out of the bag, would you? Of course not, because it's better you get it fresh and first-hand, as the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar, and this is News Extra. We now begin with FEC. The federal government says it can no longer fold its arms and allow the nation's socio-economic growth potentials to be jeopardized due to inadequate and epileptic power supply in the country. The Minister of Power, Salim Mamman, who disclosed this at a media briefing, said a plan of action aimed at injecting sanity, efficiency and effectiveness in the sector is under consideration. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports on these and other resolutions of the Federal Executive Council.
This is the fourth meeting of the Federal Executive Council in the year 2020, and indeed the turn of the Minister of Power, Salim Mamman, to give account of his accomplishments in the first 100 days of the Next Level agenda. With President Muhammadu Buhari presiding, the minister brought the council members up to speed on the journey so far, concluding that Nigeria cannot afford to continue this way as regards power transmission and distribution. At the moment, he said 13,000 megawatts of power is being generated, 7,000 transmitted, and only 3,000 get distributed to run the economy, describing it as unacceptable.
Most of the problem we are facing today in this country that we cannot get electricity supplied adequately or efficiently, it is because we have a problem in distribution. We cannot continue like that. We presented to the council the solution to the problem immediately. One of the things to tell you is that Siemens are here to align between distribution and transmission and also generation, so that at the end of the day, if you generate 13,000, transmission will take the whole 13,000 and then it will now distribute 13,000. So by that time, Nigeria will be happy and everybody will have 247 electricity supply to the customers.
The Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment also presented its performance report to the Council on the implementation of presidential priority projects.
We're working to ensure that we provide credit through the Bank of Industry to 10 million medium and small scale enterprises. We are trying to raise $500 million from the African Development Bank for technological innovation. By 2023, we are hopeful that Nigeria will be amongst the first 70 countries on the Ease of Doing Business Index.
Meanwhile, the Federal Executive Council has approved over 6.9 billion naira for the completion of Tadashonga irrigation project in Kwara State.
The Council was gracious enough to approve this project because of the huge potential that it has for the food security policy and our desire to make agriculture a focal instrument of our economy.
The Ministry of Works and Housing also secured the approval of the Council for the completion of Benin, Adumagba, Igba, Akure Road, linking Edo and Ondo states at about 1.5 billion naira.
The contract was awarded in December 2013. So this is to say we have inherited the project. And as you all know, it is the decision of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari, to continue and complete all ongoing projects.
The Federal Executive Council, the highest policy decision-making organ of the Nigerian government, will in the coming weeks put more ministers to task on their performances as critical appraisals continue on the implementation of the next-level agenda of the Buhari presidency for sustainable future of the country. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Long John Silver, remember him as a pirate in the novel Treasure Island? As kids, we used to admire him and his exploits, thinking he was a hero. Now we know him, like his modern-day contemporaries, as criminals on the high sea. The Inspector General of Police, Mohammed Adamu, says a joint collaboration between security agencies, host communities and neighboring countries is crucial to routine to ensure peace and economic stability in the country. The IGP was speaking with participants of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 13, led by the Commandant of the National Institute for Security Studies, Abuja. Do India reports.
Piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, issues and challenges on international trade, national security and sustainable development in member states is the focus of the Executive Intelligence Management Course 13. Worried by the socio-economic impulses created by maritime crimes and its attendant consequences on the economy and the nation's security, the NACES program is focusing on strategies in response to such security threats.
Why this topic is chosen is because of the dwindling resources that Nigeria is facing at the moment. And we are all aware that the Gulf of Guinea is where bulk of our trade passes through.
It is on record that the crisis we've been having in the southern part of the country is increased by the amount of weapons that they come into our country and into the hands of these, whether you call them militants or criminals. For us to be able to secure our waters and the southern part of this country around the Gulf region, we must cooperate. Not only cooperation within our citizens, but cooperation with other countries that are members of the Gulf. Talking about those countries that are bordering us: Cameroon, Benin, Ghana, and Co.
With the present security challenges confronting the nation, the group says there can't be a better time to contribute meaningfully to the general output of the nation's security. From the force headquarters in Abuja, Doing Dia, NTA News.
In the meantime, the proliferation of small arms and light weapons has been a major social and security problem in Nigeria, which experts say need urgent legislative intervention. Against this backdrop, the Senate at plenary considered the bill that seeks to establish the Nigeria National Commission against the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports.
Bill 2020.
The increasing numbers of arms smuggled into Nigeria engaged the Senate for hours as it considered for second reading the Nigerian National Commission against proliferation of small arms and light weapons. The bill is being sponsored by Senator Smart Adeyemi.
This has fueled violent conflict as witnessed in Niger Delta, kidnapping in the southeast, armed robbery in the southwest, ethno-religious violence on the plateau, and insurgency operations in the northeast of Nigeria.
It is a reading taken. The bill is referred to the Senate Committee on National Security and Intelligence to report back within 4 weeks. Thank you very much.
It was a day of second readings of bills in the Senate, 4 of them higher institutions establishment bills. The Federal University of Environmental Technology Ogoni River State Establishment Bill, sponsored by Senator Barry Nadan-Pigi, was also passed through second reading. The institution, when established, is to provide academic and professional approach to ensuring environmental sustainability in Nigeria, especially the Niger Delta region.
I want to reiterate that when this bill is enacted into law, the Federal University of Environmental Technology, Sakowa Ogoni River State, will be the first in Africa in these areas of learning and knowledge as a specialized university.
The Nigerian Civil Defense Academy, Bandogari Niger State Establishment Bill, was also passed through second reading. It seeks, among other issues, to provide academic qualifications and professional training for men and officers of the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps, sponsored by Senator Sani Musa.
The principles behind the introduction of this bill is to provide the legal and institutional framework for the establishment of higher institutions that will bridge the noticeable gap of lack of recognized higher institution to train civil defense corps.
This is one piece of legislation that will support all the effort we are trying to make to enhance the capacity, efficiency, and effectiveness of our security agencies.
Senator Sam Egu drew the attention of the Senate to the death of Professor Chukwuemeka Ike, a one-time registrar of the West African Examination Council and the author of the book, The Bottled Leopard, as the legislators observed a minute silence in his honor. The Police Academy Establishment Bill Wodil, sponsored by Senator Haliru Jika, and the Tertiary Education Trust Fund Act Amendment Bill, sponsored by Senator Abdullahi Adamu, were also passed through second reading. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Thank you, Ignatius. And demands by government agencies that Nigerians applying for social welfare and other human development initiatives of the federal government should provide national identity number as a precondition to access such programs has captured the attention of House members. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the lawmakers suggested that due to challenges associated with obtaining NIN, such prerequisite should for now be suspended.
The issue came up during Wednesday's plenary in relation to recent demand by the Petroleum Technology Development Fund that candidates applying for scholarship under the fund must, as part of registration requirements, provide the national identity number. House members, while debating the matter, noted the importance of the national identity registration and the challenges experienced by Nigerians in obtaining the number.
From my own experience, even here, where we have National Identity Card Center, I have gone there for over 2 months. I have not received. This one was even a renewal.
Nigerians in diaspora are being prevented in benefiting from opportunities at home because they do not have access to this number.
Bureaucracy that is virtually almost impossible to get a card. I don't think we should visit that sin on the citizen. That's what we need to consider. Whose fault is it? Wherein lies the fault?
In resolving the issue, the lawmakers suggested that in order not to deny some prospective candidates the opportunity to access the scholarship, other forms of identification provided, especially in the case of those below the age of 18, should be used.
Everybody is from a local government, everybody is from a community. And those communities are part of the requirement that PTDF is asking for.
All other items on the other paper were thereafter suspended to next legislative sitting. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And another history in the making by the Green Chamber at the National Assembly to clear public misconception about the role and functions of the legislature. Through its newly unveiled magazine and lapel pin, the unveiling was a gathering of ministers, governors, academics and heads of media organizations. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu reports.
The magazine by the 9th House of Representatives tends to ensure credible and dependable source of publication of its legislations. Decoration of the official lapel pin follows the unveiling by the representative of President Muhammadu Buhari, the Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, in company of the governors of Katsina and Imo States, principal officers and clerk of the National Assembly.
Access to correct information will not only polish the image of the House, but also illuminate the great work the members are doing in the House, including the enormous work that goes into the passage of a bill as well as committee duties.
I want all reporters, researchers, writers and contributors who will work to produce this magazine to exercise good judgment always and to act continuously in the best interest of the Nigerian people.
We need to create spaces for information, education, dialogue, peaceful interactive debates, citizen participation and direct contribution to legislative work.
The best a legislator can do is to subsume his interest within the national interest.
Professor Patrice Lumumba from Kenya and Professor Magnus Bakol, among other speakers, are optimistic that the magazine will assist in boosting human capital deficiency in Nigeria, which is responsible for the high rate of maternal and infant mortality, poverty, and insecurity issues.
Today I only speak to your minds and hearts in the hope that what we say on the day of the occasion of the launch of the Green Chamber magazine will be the mother's milk that will drive you to do that which is good and that which is in the interest of the great nation of Nigeria.
I believe that they will use this magazine to cause Nigerians to see how we address the many problems that face this country.
The Ninth House committed to a transparent and demystified House in its legislative agenda.
The speakers also advised Nigerians on the dangers of social media information while commending the present administration's effort to ensure transparency and media's contributions to democratic setting in the country. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
In another story, a coalition of civil society on democracy says a situation whereby politicians run to the Supreme Court to review rulings already passed is not good for the sanctity of the court and democracy itself. This was at a media briefing in Abuja against the backdrop of fresh appeals to the Apex Court to review some of her rulings. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The judiciary is said to be the last hope of the common man, but many believe that it should not be abused by the same people it stands to protect. It is against this backdrop that this coalition of civil society on democracy is gathered here to commend the Apex Court justices for remaining resolute and uncompromising in their patriotic drive to bring sanity, dignity and order into the political firmament of the nation.
We demand that Nigeria judiciary remains with its decision whenever pronouncement is made in order to safeguard the sanctity of the Supreme Court. We are, and I quote, we are final not because we are infallible. Rather, we are infallible because we are final. Said by Honorable Justice Chukwudifu Akune.
The coalition is convinced that giving room for review of previous rulings will spell doom on the judiciary by the time every dissatisfied litigant seek review of rulings of the Apex Court. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the enlargement of the Interim Management Committee, IMC, of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, from 3 to 5. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, notes that the 5 members of the committee are now Professor Daniel Ponde, who is the new Acting Managing Director, replacing Barrister Joy Nuni, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, Acting Executive Director Projects, Mr. Igbanga Basi Etang, Acting Executive Director, Finance and Administration, Mrs. Caroline Nagbo, member, and Cecilia Bukola Akintomide, OON member. President Buhari has approved the Interim Management Committee's existence until forensic audit of the NDDC is concluded. Meanwhile, the Interim Management Committee has been inaugurated by the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, in Abuja, asking members to justify the confidence reposed in them. And up ahead, neglected roles that negate children's rights to protection with parents and guardians as culprits. Are you among the guilty ones? As you ponder on this, hang on also to find out what is new in the fight against drug abuse. When News Extra returns, please stay.
So, you now want to pick my call?
Then bomb me where? Mommy of life. Final, mommy.
Where my car?
Mommy, now smart things remain.
If my car not ready for tomorrow, me and you go put leg inside one trouser. One lie.
Cross my phone. Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Yes, ma.
Not got this phone, no.
All right. Yes, ma. Hey,
Majekini.
Mommy, no be you. Don't waste your credit. When I finish, I go call.
You call me. Me when my middle name na credit. Where Glow they give me boku.
Glow and Mebo. Get 5 times your recharge to call all networks. Recharge with *555* PIN hash.
Just talk people. I beg, give me a phone, make I go, Joe.
Ah, talon so talk yen.
Lucozade, energy to get through it. Enjoy 20% off in the Airtel Home Broadband Season of Love promo. Get up to 160 gigabyte on Airtel routers with just 19,999 naira and up to 55 gigabyte on Airtel MiFi with only 9,999 naira. More data, more you. Reliable home broadband by Airtel, the smartphone network.
Kebbi State Government cordially invites you to the 2020 Yauri Regatta and Cultural Festival, scheduled to hold from Thursday 20th to Saturday 22nd of February in Yauri, Kebbi State. The event will feature agricultural show, water sports, cultural performances and formal commissioning of a multi-million naira model fish market constructed by the federal government by the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Alhaji Sabon Anono. Special guest of honor, Right Honorable Femi Bajabiamila, Speaker, House of Representatives. Chief host, His Excellency Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, the Governor of Kebbi State. Royal Father of the Day, His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Muhammad Saad Abubakar. Host, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Yauri, Dr. Muhammad Zayano Abdullahi, CON, FNSM, Vice Chancellor Emeritus, Kebbi State Government. Announcer.
Make it special and joyful and plentiful. Make it spacious and generous. So precious. Make it click and flip. No spills. Make it fresh. No matter the test. Now that's cool. Make it nutritious. Mouth-watering delicious. Talk about a mouthful. Make it captivating and imaginative. Think big. Wow. Make it lit. With a flick. That's the trick. Make life beautiful with Omaha. Omaha. Inspired by you.
The management of the Niger
Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, hereby announced the public presentation of the Maritime Action Plan on marine litter and plastic management, scheduled to take place as follows. Date, Thursday, 20th February 2020. Venue, a Hotels and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time, 10 a.m. prompt. All commissioners of environment and CEOs of all waste management agencies across the 36 states of the Federation, including the Federal Capital Territory, are expected to attend. Announcer, Dr. Dakuku Adolpitisai, DGCO, NIMASA. On behalf of the Governing Council, the Director General, Chief Executive of Industrial Training Fund, Sir Joseph Ari KSM, cordially invites stakeholders to the commissioning ceremony of the two newly completed projects, the Mechatronics Workshop and Administrative Block at the Industrial Skills Training Center, Kano, and the Katsina Area Office Complex. The Executive Governor of Kano State, Alhaji Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, will be the distinguished guest of honor at the commissioning ceremony in Kano, while the Chief Executive of Katsina State, Right Honorable Dr. Aminu Bello Masari, will serve as the distinguished guest of honor in Katsina State. The commissioning ceremony in Kano will take place on Thursday, 20th February 2020 at 11 a.m., while the Katsina Area Office commissioning will take place on Friday, 21st February 2020 at 11 a.m. The special guest of honor, the Honorable Minister of State, Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Miriam Yawaji Katagum, will perform the commissioning ceremonies. ITF Management Announcer.
Following recurring incidences of traffic violations resulting in multiple accidents, the FCT administration wishes to inform the residents of the FCT that starting Monday, 17th February 2020, all traffic violators, irrespective of status or office, will be prosecuted on the spot by the FCT mobile court, and they will be named and shamed on television and newspapers. Residents of the FCT are enjoined to be law-abiding always. Let's together build the FCT of our dreams.
Sir Christian Chinyaka, Oha, Permanent Secretary, Announcer.
This is beautiful.
Quality is vital. Quality is Vitafoam.
Hello, honey.
Hey, baby.
Wow, those guys are good in bed.
What?
Yes, we're good in bed. Hurry now to any Vitafoam accredited dealer nationwide or visit us online on www.vitafoamng.com to place your order today. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
Welcome back to News Extra. Children are special gifts who are expected to be cherished, taken care of, and guided. Sadly, some parents and guardians have failed in the discharge of these responsibilities, sending their words into child labor. Abdullahi Mohammed examines a scenario in a community which hosts one of Nigeria's premier universities.
A famous university, vibrant host community, bundle of opportunities, tagging along vices. Chief among them, a poor refuse collection and disposal system, with every household having a unique way of collecting it waste. Most disturbing are the main characters who collect the refuse to the dump site, like Lawal, Abubakar and Aliyu. They are minors who have no business taking care of mess from household to household for a tip. Tips that have made them breadwinners in their families. They should be in school, but most of them are not. Instead, they are taking lessons in refuse collection and disposal. The disturbing trend doesn't stop at the refuse collection point. At one of the dump sites, I met several other minors engaged in processing the garbage brought in by the likes of Lawal, Abubakar and Aliyu. The dump site is divided into departments, with each focusing on specific tasks. Some depend on the power of magnet to pick out metals and copper. Others use their bare hands to sort the waste for aluminium, rubber and plastics. The rest is left for the last in the chain of action. Here, The garbage is set ablaze and the ashes are sold as manure. The minors may not be aware of the consequences, and their parents and guardians may be riding on the tips the children bring in daily, but those who sow tomorrow are not smiling.
I want to attribute this to societal problems.
Of course, we still have underage amongst them, but what do you do? Since they have their parents, they are doing it under their parent with their parents' permission.
Here lies the final spot where these children normally dump their consignment. But you'll agree with me that activities at the sidelines of these dump sites tells you that these children are also exposed to another kind of abuse. The irony of all these is that the government of Kaduna State has since declared both primary and secondary education free. Infrastructure has been improved upon in schools across the state, with teachers doing the needful. So if the parent or guardian of the likes of Lawal Abubakar and Aliyu fail to take advantage of these and prepare them for a better tomorrow, then the gods are not to blame. In Kaduna, Abdullahi Muhammad, NTA News.
Well, that's quite a touching one, Abdullahi. As parents and guardians, we should know it's our responsibility to take care of them. Now, drug abuse is a global phenomenon affecting people from all walks of life, regardless of socio-economic status, leading to many deaths annually, especially amongst youths, with devastating consequences on family and society at large. In Kano State, however, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has adopted an effective strategy to stem the menace, as Fatima Sanusi Garai tells us.
This is every parent's nightmare. Musa, a 17-year-old secondary school dropout, started doing drugs when he was 15 and continued along this path of destruction for over 2 years. He is just one out of the estimated 14.3 million people between the ages of 15 and 63 who use drugs out of prescription in Nigeria, according to a survey conducted by the United Nations on drug use in Nigeria. Although there is paucity of data on the statistics of those involved in drug abuse in Kano State, it is pertinent to know that quite a number of street children are engaged in this sorry behavior. A visit to a popular spot at Sabangari in Kano Metropolis revealed how some underage children who are supposed to be in school and under parental care are throwing their God-given talent down the drain by indulging in substance abuse. To fight this menace, the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Kano Command, has raided various drug hotspots within and outside the metropolis. The command also unbundled high-profile drug cartel in the process of swallowing 2.5 kilograms of cocaine in their hotel room as they prepare to travel to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
So far now they are in the process of defecating the substance that they have swallowed.
The operational strategies, which will focus on gathering information for low, middle and high-profile drug barons, is expected to keep the command a step ahead of both traffickers and users.
So we're going to imbibe new strategies tailored towards making sure that these new psychoactive substances are prescribed by law, are co-opted into our own legislation.
How difficult will it be for Musa and many like him to be on the right path without any parental guidance? In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
Well, NDLEA, keep up doing what you know how to do best. Now, terminal and other diseases such as high blood pressure and diabetes are more prevalent among middle-aged persons and the elderly, and this is attributed to a build-up in the body system over the years. And to contain the situation, proper child and adolescent nutrition and healthy lifestyle have been advocated to prevent such health challenges in the future. Rafiat Amioshum Badmos in this report examines ways of achieving healthy adolescent nutrition.
Adolescence is the transition period between childhood and adulthood, a window of opportunity for the improvement of nutritional status and correcting poor nutritional practices. Nutrition of an adolescent girl is necessary to give energy, fat and oil, protein, calcium, iron, zinc, and folate, which are essential to prepare for the nutritional demands of pregnancy and lactation that girls may experience in later life.
They should watch it, because the more of those foods that are high in fat, the tendency for them to go obese.
Mrs. Iwalola Akinjimo is of Youth Empowerment Foundation, and Professor Razak Sanusi advocate that parents should pay attention to the nutritional needs of their teenagers.
If you don't get it right during adolescence, the adolescent is going to grow into an adult that is malnourished. And if it is a girl, if she gets pregnant, she's likely to have a child that has low birth weight or is small for gestation.
The future of Nigeria, whether we like it or not, and whatever we tell them now, whatever quality they are now, that is what we expect in Nigeria.
Adolescents are advised to avoid malnutrition, as this will affect the healthy development of future children, growth, as well as the ability to learn and work at maximum productivity. In Ibadan, Rofia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
A beautiful development there, Rafiat. Now, this next story is about a tax that is painful to perform but necessary because it brings solace and reinforces the saying, the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. It's in this light that the Ministry of Defense presented checks to the next of kin of personnel of the armed forces of Nigeria who died in active service, and Naja'atu Tijani was there.
Gone but not forgotten. 184 military personnel who died in active service have left a legacy for their next of kin, who have now gathered from far and near to receive benefits accrued from the years of service of the departed. Binta Abdul Aziz Mohammed is one of the next of kin. The young widow lost her husband in an attack in Jakana town in Borno State.
Died on the spot. You have and how I have 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy. Think now that I have someone to rely on. I have someone that will take care of my children.
Twice Sarah, Bodude, and a host of others who received checks for various sums of money to boost their welfare say they are grateful for the sacrifice of the fallen heroes. A sacrifice which the Ministry of Defense vows will not be in vain.
We know we cannot compensate you. There is nothing we can do to bring them back. But certainly the Ministry of Defense or the nation as a whole will not forget the services of your brothers, husbands, and your children.
Till 2014, military personnel were excluded from this gesture contained in the Pension Reform Act. But an amendment to the Act has made it possible for next of kin of the departed to benefit from the years of active service.
This initiative is courtesy the Life Assurance Program for the Armed Forces, aimed at providing succor for those left behind. It is expected to assure the future of Binta's 3 children, Sarah's 4, and other next of kin whose hopes are hinged on the sacrifices of their loved ones. Naja'atu Tijani, NTA News.
An amazing initiative there, Naja'atu. Now, 30,000 refugee households taking refuge in Diffa, Niger Republic, have been provided with food and non-food items by federal and Borno state governments. Mohamed Goni reports that Governor Babagana Umar Zulum personally supervised the distributions.
There are over 120 refugees of Borno extraction in Niger Republic, mainly from Abadam, Kukawa, Guzamala and Mobile local government areas of northern Borno, most of whom have been there for over 3 years. Governor Babagana Umara, assisted by the governor of Dipa province and other officials of state government, distributed the relief items to the refugees. Professor Babagana Umara says 15,000 bags of rice were from Nigeria Customs Service, while Borno State government procured 15,000 bags of maize and same number of fabrics, as well as cooking oil in addition to 77 million naira. During a courtesy call on the governor of Dipa province, Issa Lamin, Professor Babagana Umara appreciated the Nigerian government and Dipa province for hosting Nigerians and the show of support. He noted that the presence of the Nigerian refugees has led to overstretching of water and health facilities and assured to complement efforts of the province in that regard. Governor Zulum also expressed willingness to build Borno House to accommodate Nigerian officials coming for engagement in Difa and assist with provision of social amenities, stressing further that Borno will continue to strengthen the relationship even after return of the refugees. From Difa province in Niger Republic, Mahmoud Goni, NTA News.
Well, thank you, Mohammed Goni, for that. Now, you know the saying that give me a fish, I will eat for a day, and teach me to fish, I will eat for a lifetime. Well, that is what unfolded in Plateau State, where 350 youths trained in various skills by the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, were equipped to eat for a lifetime. And the young takes it up from here.
Training focus on some key areas of the nation's economy as it relates to power supply, food security, in the area of ensuring proper nutrition for the populace and meeting the fashion needs of Nigerians among other needs of the nation.
Now I can rely on myself. I am self-employed. I can also train other people.
I have learned so many things. Right now, I am my own boss.
They've learned the trade and the skills. It's now left for them to make use of it. They've been equipped already.
For the trainees to become established entrepreneurs with viable skills and subsequent employers of labor, startup packs were given towards positioning them to contribute in reducing the poverty index of the country. So far, over 200,000 Nigerians nationwide have been equipped in 9 trades.
For Nigeria to truly be industrialized, we all have to take the acquisition of relevant and contemporary skills seriously.
For the Industrial Training Fund, the NISDP is one of the numerous skills intervention programs to facilitate federal government's policy on job and wealth creation.
I will therefore seize this opportunity to appeal to the state government, the organized private sector, non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, politicians and other stakeholders to collaborate with the ITF in our efforts to training Nigerians.
Key players were optimistic that the doggedness of the Director General has given the needed impetus towards empowering the youth for self-reliance and skills acquisition. In Jos, Indenyan and the Abagang, NTA News.
Education must be at the center of any development plan as society continues to grapple with emerging challenges. So, the Executive Secretary, National Universities Commission, NUC, Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid, is challenging the university system in Nigeria to provide the path to the future. A challenge Bayes University Abuja is happy to take on. And Kelvin Ehunai reports.
As identified by the Executive Secretary of the NUC, Professor Abubakar Adamu Rashid, universities mainly exist to provide solutions to societal challenges. One of such challenges is lack of accessible healthcare. With a projected population of about 400 million by 2030, Nigeria must now begin to plan for a new healthcare strategy to cater for her huge population. That is why he's happy that Bayes University Abuja, having already made impact in other disciplines, is now looking to the future with a proposed state-of-the-art teaching hospital to train new generation of medical personnel and reduce medical tourism.
The ABBS program can now start in earnest, and you can consolidate and become a center of medical excellence.
Establishing a teaching hospital is not a tea party, but the Board of Trustees of Bayes University says with the architectural design now ready and presented to the NUC for inputs and guidance, it is set to hit the ground running.
Being able to get approvals in ensuring that we have the proper facilities on all our departments.
So you can imagine when we take on a new
venture as a teaching hospital, we would have moved to much higher levels. We hate to see our countrymen go to India, Egypt, even England for treatment. So we want to bring it to their doorsteps here.
The university is hopeful that in the next 18 months, its MBBS program will commence with a well-equipped teaching hospital. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewonwaye, NTA News.
In the meantime, the World Bank this Wednesday in Washington, D.C., the United States, approved Nigeria's digital identity ecosystem project along with 5 others aimed at assisting the country to empower citizens, especially marginalized groups, to access welfare-enhancing services. A statement signed by the General Manager, Operations and Corporate Communications, National Identity Management Commission, Abdul Hamid Umar, the National Digital Identity Ecosystem Project is focused on enhancing the national identity system's legal and technical safeguards to protect personal data and privacy. The World Bank approved the 6 projects to support Nigeria's development priorities focused on improving immunization, providing an enabling business environment for private sector, and expanding the digital economy to promote job creation and increasing capacity to public and private sector on governance, social and environmental safeguards. And it was among the lofty legacies of a public servant synonymous with his name, and they sure made movement easy for the residents of Nigeria's capital city. But the question begging for answers now is, where are they? We would satisfy your curiosity, but that would be when we come back from this break we are about to take. Please stay.
Welcome to our wonderful world of data with these incredible new offers from your #1 4G network nationwide. Glow Unlimited.
It is morning, a new beginning. As you prepare everyone for the day ahead, just anything is not enough. Only you make breakfast special, creamy, tasty, with vitamins and nutrients we need for a delightful, healthy start.
So start your day right with Hollandia Evap.
Hollandia.
When you wake up in the morning, before you start your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
We always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals. So in our family, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Since 1971, Nigeria's foremost human capital development institution, the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, has been at the forefront of equipping Nigerians with skills for national growth. Today's ITF has repositioned and refocused its programs, forging new partnerships locally and internationally to effectively deliver on its mandate. With 37 area offices and 5 industrial skills training centers across the country, ITF is pushing to reduce unemployment by providing relevant technical and vocational skills for employability and entrepreneurship in diverse trades and crafts. Whether you're a public or private organization seeking to improve the skills of your personnel, or an individual looking to acquire skills that will increase your chances of employment or even to help start your own business, today's ITF has a program for you. Speak to us today. Contact our area offices nationwide or visit our website www.itf.gov.ng. ITF, developing the nation's human resource.
Maybe say now today or 4 days when my girls won't come visit and I need to come go expire.
Oh, my guys, they can't follow me watch this match. I must not fold the hand.
Babe, what's happening now? Sorry to disappoint you, but my subscription don't expire.
The match is not on my GoTV package.
Now your holla be that. I beg, give me your phone.
Make I show you how you go take do it for my GoTV app for your phone.
Life is so much easier with my GoTV app. Make payments, clear error messages, change your package. You can also check your due dates and keep abreast of your payment history.
With the corner, Matip is there.
The new My GoTV app is everything you need in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download My GoTV app now from Google Play or App Store to enjoy the easy life. GoTV. Live it, love it.
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their host this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Great to know you're still with us on News Extra. But as usual, Abolade Salami in Lagos has something to tell us about happenings in the business world. Now, it's over to you, Abolade.
Thank you, Fatima, and welcome to the business news segment. The sum of 647.353 billion naira has been shared by the three tiers of government as allocation for the month of February. Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mahmoud Issa Dutse, while analyzing the breakdown of the sharing formula, said there was a significant increase in import duty revenue. The Federation Accounts Allocation Committee for the month of February, in its gross statutory revenue, recorded a slight decline of 75.061 billion naira, while value-added tax also decreased to 104 billion naira from 104.8 billion naira in the previous month. The decline, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, attributed to the shortfall from the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the NNPC.
When you add up the statutory collections and the statutory revenue and VAT, the total comes to 647.353 billion. That's the total distributable from the Federation account. And this is a reduction from the figure of 716.298 billion.
A breakdown in the sharing formula shows that the federal government got the sum of 267.389 billion naira, while the state government was allocated the sum of 176.923 billion naira, as the local government received the sum of 132.944 billion naira.
And government is doing all it takes to improve on non-oil revenues, and states are also being encouraged to tap all the vast potentials that are lying out there in the states to improve their IGR, the internally generated revenues, and things I believe will kick up and will be strategic. We are not unaware of the happenings at in the global space.
Statutory revenue, import duty, value-added tax, and flexible exchange rate were factors responsible for the push in revenue drive, as the excess crude account stands at $71.814 million. Away from FAC to happenings in the global oil market, benchmark Brent oil prices rose for a seventh consecutive day after demand worries eased with slow of new coronavirus cases in China, and supply was curtailed by U.S. move to cut more Venezuela crude from the market. Brent crude was up 71 cents at $58.46 a barrel. Global benchmark was rising nearly 10% since falling to its lowest week last. U.S. crude was up 53 cents at $52 a barrel. And now let's quickly move down to see how stocks fared today. Profit taking further pushed down performance of stocks in the Nigerian capital market as it dips by 0.09%. Here are midweek details.
Consistent sale pressure has affected rally of stocks in the equities market as the market depreciated in figures by 0.09% to close the all-share index at 27,523.08 basis points. Volume of shares traded stood at 290 million, valued at 5.02 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 3,528 deals and a market capitalization of 14.3 trillion naira. WAPCO, Sea Leasing, and AfriProd advanced in figures, while on the flip side, Custodian and Guarantee declined in figures. On sectoral performance, only NSC Industrial pulled through, gaining 0.46%, while other sectors such as banking, consumer goods, insurance, and oil and gas depreciated in figures by 0.55%, 0.15%, 2.29%, and 1.12%.
Stock market concludes business news segment. It's back to Fatima in Abuja for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you so much, Abolade, for the business package. Now, the popular program on cable news network CNN Inside Africa is 20 years old. And to celebrate the milestone, CNN International rolled out the drums to commemorate the achievements with its exclusive sponsors, Zenith Bank PLC in Lagos. Imole Ayo Tokede has the details.
This gathering is a blend of captains of industry, professionals from diverse spheres, and of course, on-air personalities who have come to celebrate the partnership of these two global corporate brands. 20 years of Inside Africa signifies 2 decades of covering the continent, an idea the CNN executed to set an agenda and change the traditional view of Africa, which is often negative.
We're going to make it even more reflective of 2020's Africa, the way people on the continent live their lives.
This sponsorship, which started 12 years ago, Zenith Bank says is its way of projecting and improving the economy of Africa.
All we are basically saying is that we are not going to be tired about this sponsorship. We find it very compelling. We like the feedback we are getting. We like the fact that somebody needs to be a torchbearer.
We will expect many African countries, particularly Nigeria, to be one of the top 20 nations of the largest economies in the world.
Inside Africa, a weekly program on CNN, highlights the true diversity of the continent, thereby projecting the political, economic, social, and cultural affairs, as well as trends developing across Africa. In Lagos, Imole Ayo Tokede, NTA News.
Beautiful one there, Richard Quest dancing. Beautiful. Tax collecting agents in the private and public sectors across the country have been asked to make prompt remittance of taxes collected top priority to drive the maximum benefits of the 2019 Finance Act of the federal government. This was at a sensitization tour of agencies and parastatals in the southwest by the executive chairman FIRS, Mohammed Nami, on the new act. And Awal Yusuf Jibo reports.
Passage of the 2019 Finance Act is a milestone for Nigeria, according to experts, as it marks a return to an era of active fiscal supervision geared towards stimulating the economy and creating an enabling environment for sustainable development. Actualizing this is the core reason for the visit of the Federal Inland Revenue Service to the Nigerian Airspace Management Authority.
They are a critical stakeholder that we feel we should visit in view of the heavy traffic of customers coming into Nigeria to transact business here. And some of these customers and multinational corporations that we feel they should assist us in educating on their civic responsibility.
The FIRS boss was also at the Government House Alausa Ikeja, where he discussed strategies for improved revenue generation with Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. They agreed to collaborate and ensure that the activities of the Federal Inland Revenue Service is effectively complied with in Lagos State.
And to also use this opportunity to encourage our citizens that only when they play their own part as responsible corporate or individual citizens, both at the corporate level and at the individual level, that government can come up and discharge its responsibility.
Both parties expressed optimism of having a smooth working relationship in Lagos. Awol Yusuf Jabo, NTA News.
In another development, makers of Lakasera apple drink says it is not only concerned about making more money, but it is committed to touching the lives of people by giving back to the society. And the managing director of the company, Chinedum Okereke, gave this indication when he paid a working visit on the Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, where he announced the donation of a solar power system to a VVF center in the city. Lawal Sallo Inua reports.
It was a sight to behold when the management of Lakasera company met the Emir Muhammad Sanusi II at the palace as he rode on the horseback to begin the day session. The Lakasera company, one of the leading brands in Nigeria and the first to introduce plastic bottles for its product, sees Kano as its major distribution hub in northern Nigeria. It was a recognition of this and in fulfillment of its corporate social responsibility that the company made the donation of solar power system at Kwale VVF Center.
So every bottle of Lakasera you open trust. So high quality. Also Lakasera, it's the only company that makes apple with a 5% apple juice content. So the taste is unique, the taste is refreshing.
We do lifestyle innovation, and that is as a product of research, understanding what our consumers want, and then making sure that we tailor our innovation to suit their basic needs.
Emir of Kano Muhammad Sanusi II advised the company to have more presence in the commercial city by establishing production units to create more employment opportunities.
To begin to invest in agriculture, in manufacturing, and in development of skills unless we continue to deepen those investments.
The company, which has over the years involved in various developmental programs in Kano, recently launched more products, including tropical, ginger, and orange balls to complement the existing ones. Apart from introduction of a lot of promo to its teeming consumers, the Lakasera company also engaged in creating awareness to the teeming news on the danger associated with drug abuse. Lawal Sallo Inua, NTA News.
Now, thank you, Lawa. Now from Kano, we'll take you to Lagos, where there is a new spectrum of excitement along the Lagos-Ibadan rail corridor, as the free train ride along the axis is not only fast-tracking mobility, but giving insight into the federal government's determination to connect cities in the quest to spur development. Although the contractor handling the project is turning threat to opportunity, but travelers along the axis are already dreaming big. Michael Olale reports.
With the level of work done, Ibadan is just a stone throw, and travelers like Yekini Oyebami did not only demonstrate their preference for the rail system, but believe the achievement recorded so far in the rail sector is commendable.
What the federal government led by President Muhammadu Buhari is doing, if we are having this kind of opportunity rise from years ago, Nigeria will have moved more faster than what we are having today.
There was no distraction and it was peaceful. If you want to rest your back, you can rest your back and straighten your legs.
You can see the modernization. You can see a lot of comfort that abounds on board.
As the clock ticks, bringing closer the date of delivery of the Lagos-Ibadan rail line. The contractor handling the project is not just intensifying efforts, but devising new ways of overcoming obstacles. The ever-busy Lagos traffic is one of such obstacles. This is, however, being addressed as the rail line is now serving the mobility purpose for construction materials. As the challenges are being surmounted, new ones are emerging, with the removal of structures along the Apapa corridor inhibiting access to the seaports.
We have already entered the port to do some works. We went there last time. You can see it's only excavation we did for like around 200 meters. We have already laid the tracks, completed the tracks there.
From records, more than 1,000 passengers have so far benefited from the free train ride between December 2019 and now. The prospect that the rail system will offer an escape route from the ever-busy Lagos road increase the belief that railway remains the transportation of this millennium. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
Now, they used to be everywhere, making movement easy for people. In fact, they constituted a part of Abuja's scenic beauty. But gradually, they began to disappear. And there are fears they may soon be forgotten if nothing is done about them. This is the story of the Abuja Mass Transit buses, popularly known as El-Rufai buses, as told by Oyenaya Kalu-Oka, who had a mixed feeling experience on a ride.
El-Rufai buses popularized during the tenure of Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, as the FCT minister. Very easy to spot and used to be cherished by many. It is orderly queuing up at the Nyanya bus station, but inside the bus, it is a different scenario with everyone scamming for space. A potpourri of drama, no dull moment, despite the fatigue standing and the long hour of ride as a result of hold-up along the route to Wuse. This is a 44-seater bus, but you can see a lot of standing. The bus is taking about 80 people right now, more than the capacity is supposed to take.
In fact, to stand in this bus, you're even lucky to find space to stand. Because as you can see along the road, a lot of people still trying to find buses, still trying to find ways of getting to town and to their offices.
Passengers queue for long hours in the bus stations due to non-availability of buses. It is some minutes to 10 o'clock in the morning, and behind me you can see long queue of passengers waiting to board. They have been standing here for more than an hour waiting for the bus to arrive.
So person will come and join line for more than an hour before you see motor.
I don't really understand why they cannot organize this very well. Go to Bega 9, there are many buses in the Bega.
Private car operators appear to be taking advantage of the situation.
So we find it difficult to go to where we're working. So we need help. If the federal government will do us that help, they should supply buses.
Records from the Federal Capital Territory Administration show that there are about 261 buses operating daily in the 6 area councils, as no new bus has been added to the fleet in the last 5 years. A visit to the headquarters of the Abuja Urban Mass Transportation Company Limited, an arm of the FCT in charge of the buses, revealed a large number of these buses parked for years.
The administration is working on a fleet renewal plan. You'll see in our premises we have quite a number of buses here waiting for repairs. And you can even see some buses that we have just refurbished and repairs and ready to go on the road.
Poor funding, management and population growth were attributed as some of the factors contributing to the disappearance of these buses.
Normally, the fleet has to be changed. In fact, the regulation treatment has to be changed every 4 to 5 years.
One major question on the lips of commuters is, what is the way forward?
The minister has even told us that we should reduce the requirements for licensing.
There are other transport infrastructure that are required for the city. There are needs for terminals. There are needs for more bus stops and for laybys.
As the bus comes to a halt after a long drive, to most civil servants and residents in the FCT, this service must not come to a halt, as appealed for urgent intervention. Oyenaya Kalu-Oka, NTA News.
Sure, it mustn't come to a halt. Thank you, Anna, for that. Now, Nigerians are creative and innovative. This lends credence to assertions that the country can easily achieve technological breakthrough. Abdullahi Lalu here captures the innovations by a holder of primary school certificate who hails from Aliru local government area of Kebbi State.
Buhari Umar Danware seems to be on his way to announcing himself to the world with his creativity and talent at building amazing stuffs. The primary school leaver from Kebbi State, using mainly rubber, has built a blending machine, water pumping machine, ridger and planting machine, as well as rice thrashing machine, among other inventions.
When he was young, we are giving them a practical of some works to do at home. Sometimes when he bring another something, we are very surprised. As a young child, he make this aeroplane, like a motor car, like other some engines. We like the government to assist or to help this all those who need to do this kind of activities.
Engineer, as he is popularly known, told NTA Birnin Kebbi News that he has never learned manufacturing of machines from anyone and can construct any kind of machine and even improve on it. Buhari Umar Danware said lack of financial support is what tied him down from excelling further. He therefore solicits for support from the government and non-governmental organizations for the development of the state and country at large.
Sai ni ɗauko ni ga 'yan China su ma sai mota ga ta shuka ta su muka ce tun da gero muka ya kamata a ce me ne kamata ya gero sai ce to ban gero mota shuka.
Considering our locality, I invented a machine that can make ridges and plant millet. With assistance from the government, I will improve and even make more machines.
Buhari Umar Danware said his best moment was when he received a handshake and commendation from the Vice President, Professor Yomi Oshibanjo, during his visit to Kebbi State to launch the Small and Medium Enterprises Clinic in Birnin Kebbi. From Danware in Aliru local government area of Kebbi State, Abdullah Omar Ilalu, NTA News.
That's a good one, I must say. I believe Buhari Umar should be encouraged. Now, they are graduates of different disciplines, having high hopes of securing promising jobs, which they later found out are not available. The slogan, taking one's destiny in one's hands, seemed to make more meaning for them, for some of them. Olubukola Aduwo takes us to Akure, the Ondo State capital, where some graduates are taking their destinies in their hands to be self-reliant and also add to the economic drive of the state.
I started with about 5,000 naira, my pocket money actually, because my mom, when I told my mom I wanted to start business, she said, "Look, go and read your book."
This is Precious Bolaji, a 2019 graduate of biology from the Federal University of Technology, Akure. Her story is remarkable as it exemplifies the dogged determination and fighting spirit of the average Nigerian youth to succeed in the face of odds. Precious uses African Ankara designs to produce bags, hats, and folders, a passion she has and developed to a thriving business.
It has been amazing. My business has been growing little by little. Right now, we've produced over 700 bags in the last 3 years, and we started recording a very high rate of orders.
For Femi Abiola, his love for fashion is now a gold mile of some sorts, and this 34-year-old graduate of geography and physical science has never sought employment, but today is making waves in Akure, the Ondo State capital, producing branded t-shirts, jerseys, and shoes.
I don't really think you need all the basic capital to start. Just put your mind at it, yeah, you'll get it. If you can use your hand to create something unique, the market are paying more. They are paying more for the uniqueness.
From available records, 600,000 graduates are produced yearly from the 308 degree awarding institutions in Nigeria. The truth, many educational experts have said, is that a large number of these graduates are probably unemployable, a fault found in the nation's educational and training curriculum.
This
This is the fashion designing unit of the Center for Entrepreneurship at the Federal University of Technology, Akure. These machines may look small, but they are capable of not just empowering graduates of this school as fashion designers, but also as employers of labor in the nearest future.
We're already collaborating with Back of Industry to see how we can encourage this younger one in providing facility that will be needed for them to start their business.
This new educational policy shift is already making positive impact on undergraduates in many institutions.
The entrepreneurship program has really helped me in doing so many things: bag making, shoes, and slip-ons.
After school, I intend to go into confectionery fully.
In Ondo State, we have giving out this loan of 10,000 to 800. The first batch was done through the state government.
The likes of Precious Bolaji remain shining light for a teeming number of Nigerian youths with burning talents, but lack the motivation and encouragement to realize their dreams of becoming entrepreneurs. In Akure, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
And as the saying goes, if you want to know the true beauty of the woman you want to marry, pay her a surprise visit first thing in the morning. We take you into the world of makeup as usual on News Extra. Yeah, I mean the News Extra way after this time out. Please stay with us.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070-197-73352 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Raypower FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM, the Albino Foundation, the Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic. There's me no panic. You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Yeah, press OK. Wow, now you fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your groove for no loss. You see as I do, Abi? And I see as I do,
Go TV, live it, love it.
And I see as we do,
Newcastle United travel to London for the second week in a row as they take on Crystal Palace in the league. Will they achieve the double over their host this season, or will Crystal Palace carry out their revenge? Find out as Crystal Palace hosts Newcastle United on the Premier League Live on NTA Network at 3:30 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Coca-Cola and Access Bank.
Welcome back to News Extra. Now, the Nigeria Immigration Service has unveiled its new enhanced e-passport in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, to serve the people of the South, South and Southeast regions. Commending the federal government for the initiative, the Governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike, expressed reservations over the requirement of BVN number for the issuance of the passport. Now, the governor's reservations are understandable as bank cautions customers not to divulge the BVN under any circumstance. Robinson Derataide tells us about the e-passport.
The enhanced e-passport has high technological and security features, weather-friendly, with 10 years validity. Governor Wike says the new revolution of integrated data management system in the country is a welcome development, but disagrees with some requirements.
It surprised me when I was told yesterday to bring my BVN number. Now, assuming I have a child who is 1 year old, and I I want to travel with my child. You are telling me that my child cannot have a passport number or ID card number because it does not have a BVN number. Do you expect a child of 1 year to have a bank account?
Speaking on behalf of the Controller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, the River State Controller, Rashida Dekoke, says the e-passport is in 3 categories with costs ranging between 25, 35 and 70,000.
In the comfort of your home, of your sitting room, go online, fill the form online, make payment, fill in the required spaces, and come to our office.
The old passport is still tenable until after expiration. In Port Harcourt, Robinson Derateide, NTA News.
And one of the things that makes Nigeria a giant is the population. But is this population favorable to national growth and development? Well, the agency responsible for managing our population is on the matter. Right now, it is in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital, harnessing demographic data for effective national planning and development with experts in relevant fields. The ultimate aim is to proffer new insights that will bring the much-desired paradigm shift in population matters. And Ifoma Aikoje will tell us more.
The 2020 retreat of the National Population Commission targets providing holistic workable strategies and solutions that will empower the government to harness reliable demographic data to effectively plan towards the good of every Nigerian.
We actually need to put our heads together, get resource persons, get external people. Let us see how do we use demographic data to benefit the lives of Nigerians. We want to turn data into Naira. This is the essence of population.
Partners at the event expressed faith that the outcome of the retreat will provide guidelines that will ensure generation of an accurate and dependable data bank for genuine national development. Akwa Ibom State Government commends and pledges support to the federal government's commitment.
The nation awaits the outcome of the next census with all hope of nationalistic excellence.
We will assist them in making appropriate laws and statutes. We will assist them to get proper funding.
In Uyo, Ifoma Aikoje, NTA News.
Thank you, Ifoma. Beauty, they say, is in the eye of the beholder. Well, if that be the case, why wear makeup to enhance your beauty? There are indications, however, that wearing makeup is becoming a daily ritual, especially among the female gender, as most women can't do without it. If this is the case, one imagines the rave in cosmetic market tied to job creation, given the fact that the world today is a platform arguably of ideas. In this report, Amina Baba Suleiman takes a look at the different trends in makeup.
Wearing makeup is synonymous with TV presentation. A first glance at Joyce Ometu, a news presenter, she goes full blast in the act at the slightest opportunity before standing in front of the camera. Her package comprises powder, lipsticks, foundation, mascara, among other items to bring out her beauty.
Many thanks for joining us on this segment.
Unlike Joyce, who cannot do without makeup for the purpose of her job, there are an avalanche of ladies that see makeup as beauty enhancer.
You have to look presentable, you have to wear makeup to enhance your beauty, to make you look more attractive.
Most of them, without that makeup, they won't feel comfortable. And we men, we are used to it. We know when you put it and when you didn't put it.
On the other hand, there are others who appreciate ladies with makeup, but they dislike putting it.
When a man see you today, maybe tomorrow the man will see you, can't recognize you again. So I don't like it.
What is the bone of contention here? Do women wear makeup to appease men or to conceal facial spots?
No. I think it's just the extra on the beauty, just the icing on the cake for ladies, and it's a good one.
You know, at times if they put on makeup, they'll look different. If they wash their face, you hardly identify them.
See a lady with pimple, but makeup will cover that pimple. A lady will have eczema, makeup will cover that eczema.
I made time to visit a beauty parlor in Abuja.
Hi, how are you?
Guess who I met? Amina Ahmed, Amina Ahmad is a beautician. She says the business is lucrative but capital intensive.
If you live in a remote area where people patronize you with makeup of 2K, some people will say it's 2K now, you understand? But unlike here, I can say my makeup, I do makeup 10,000 because of the products I use, the original products. So starting, it's not a small amount.
As a lady, whether you wear makeup or not, beauty is seen in the eyes of the beholder. But as the demand keeps increasing, so is the business of looking good. In Abuja, Amina Baba Suleiman, NTA News.
Sure, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I love makeups, part of my job though. Now to sports. Shagamu Agog as a heavyweight boxing champion Anthony Joshua arrives the palace of Akwarigbo of Remo. Ayodeji Makinde brings us other reports on sports update.
Nigerian taekwondists to the 2020 Tokyo Olympics qualifiers in Rabat, Morocco are set to depart the country Friday as the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development sought out necessary documents for release of funds. The quartet of Chinazom Nwosu, Elizabeth Ayanacho, Benjamin Okumose and Ifeoluwa Ajayi will represent Nigeria at the main event February 22 to 23. 105 athletes from 36 African countries will be competing in 8 Olympic weight categories,